All right, we are live. Welcome back. This is going to be a different kind of show tonight, folks. And so, one of the things that we'll get to that I'm excited to talk about, I'll just tease it right here in the cold open, and then we'll get going with the show, which is something about a new book coming out, and we'll talk about that in Collection Corner. But let's get the show started.
Spectre 2 reporting in. This is Vanessa Marshall, and I play Hera Syndulla on Star Wars Rebels. You're listening to the Hyperspace Heroes podcast. That's no moon. Take it from Brown Mullet 34.
And now, on with the show.
Time for bladder check. Check.
Check.
Check. Wait. Screw it. I'm holding it.
Brown Squadron.
Podcasting, the final audio frontier. These are the legends of Brown Squadron.
Our computer is picking up a strange signal. Here, sir, you better take a look at it.
The ongoing mission? To explore the Star Wars universe and other nerd culture topics. To seek new content and new cantinas, bars, and lounges. To boldly annoy Scruffy by making too many bad jokes. Welcome to the Hyperspace Heroes podcast.
All right, and welcome to Hyperspace Heroes. This is Brown Leader signing in. All wings report in.
And this is Brownie 1 signing in.
This is Brown 50, I believe, signing in.
I think so, yeah. Brown,
yes.
Welcome, gang. So Scruffy and DB are on special assignment tonight, paying the bills. So we have a really, really exciting episode that I've been looking forward to, and we've got a first-time guest in terms of what they do for the Star Wars universe, and so I wanted to bring some friends on to share the experience with. Everybody should know Brownie 1. Brownie 1 jumps in from time to time, recent film student and my son, and also I like to take him to conventions because he is my celebrity bait. So he bonds well with celebrities at shows. And then Elora from What Does Star Wars Mean to You? Elora, welcome to the show tonight.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited.
Right on. So it's been a while. So for those that don't know Elora, she has been on the show before. Her and Dave, they're co-hosts of a wonderful podcast that is on my weekly rotation on my playlist, which is What Does Star Wars Mean to You? So I know she's going to cringe a little bit tonight when we ask our first question because we jump right to that.
No cringing.
No cringing. But yeah, it's welcome to the show, guys, and how have your summers been so far?
Good. Yeah, Brownie 1, do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I didn't know what our order was. It's been good. I've been staying busy. I feel like a bit of a fraud here because I'm seeing these backgrounds and I've just kind of got this blank wall behind me. But I haven't really had as much time to put up some Star Wars stuff. But yeah, it's been really good. I can't complain. It's been hot. I guess that's my one complaint I'll say. But
yeah, I agree.
Other than that, it's been really nice. Things have been very peaceful here. So, Elora.
I've been getting outdoors a lot, getting out in the water, a lot of hiking. I started a new job 7 months ago, so also just like getting my footing in life. And so, yeah, summer's cruising along.
And are you still beekeeping?
Oh yes. That's been a big part of the summer. Is the cosmic apiary needs a lot of my attention.
Right on.
Yeah.
We've got the Roderick Endek chiming in. We've never been so back, right? Brownie 1, you know him.
I'm familiar.
I'm familiar. Yeah. So, So tonight we've got when I said kind of first time guest, Kendall is joining us tonight. She is a costumer, I read an article that used the term key costumer. I'm not sure what that means. We're definitely going to ask her about that. But yeah, she has been a costumer on a lot of different projects, Space Jam sequel, Fallout Season 2. But where we know her work best is Ahsoka, Mandalorian, and the Book of Boba Fett. And so we're really excited to talk. First time we've ever had a chance to talk to somebody that works on the wardrobe side of things. And I think we're going to bring her in right now. Gio, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm so happy to meet some new friends.
What? Right on. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, well, like I said, we'll kind of ask you what key costumer means here in a little bit. But so first question we always start off with our guests is, what does Star Wars mean to you?
I love it. Get to the heavy stuff. No small talk.
No small
I'm all about it. Well, I've had a minute to kind of to think on it, but really, it also, I told you that Rory is a friend of mine, as is Warren, and I listened to those episodes recently. I don't know if you guys know who Crystal Rose is. What I'm getting to is that Star Wars is healing. I think that's when I can dial it in, and a lot of people, I think, share that sentiment, is that Star Wars is healing for a lot of people, is definitely healing for me. And essentially in the way, like, that's like what I've come to now, like, just to think about it. But when I was, when I was a kid, when I saw Star Wars, my first time seeing them in the movies was the re-releases with my dad. He snuck my sister and I out when mom was out, and we got to go see them in the middle of the school week. And that was kind of our secret thing that we did together. But what I recognized, like, where I immediately was like, I feel this, was when Luke, right off the bat, staring off into the sunset, just wanting more. God, like, doesn't that just get you right there? You're just like, there's got to be more than this. And don't get me wrong, I had a really great childhood, but it was kind of boring. Or at least I felt like I was experiencing, or I was feeling life in HD, and everyone else was just sort of like, I'd watch a movie and everyone would cry at the appropriate time, but then I'd be like, I'm still crying. I feel and experience life in HD. That's just how I live my life. So when I saw that, and especially in Empire Strikes Back, when Yoda is reprimanding him and going, your mind's never on what you're supposed to be doing. I was like, right here. I'm never focused on what I'm supposed to be doing. I didn't, and I love to learn, but it got me where I was like, I was always different. I was always an arty kid. And it wasn't until 2021, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and it was like, oh, now it all makes sense, now it all makes sense. And so, yeah, so it was healing. It was it's validating to go see someone on screen that also feels like he wants bigger. He's called to something more. That's what I guess that's the best way I can sum it up.
That's very cool.
Thank you.
That's very cool. And I know, Elora, you guys ask, the same kind of thing on your show, and it's been amazing. Every guest that we've had, and I'm sure you guys too, every answer is different. And that's such an amazing thing about the Star Wars universe, I think.
Elora, I'm going to have to put you on my rotation.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
Yes, I can't wait. I can't wait to check it out.
So the next usually the follow-up question to that is, kind of share with us your first experience. Was it going to the re-releases, or what was your first Star Wars memory or experience?
No, I have an older brother. He's 10 years older than me. And he had books. I used to sneak into, he knows this now, but I used to sneak into his room when he wasn't there, because he was into Dungeons and Dragons and all this cool stuff. His room was just so interesting. So I would go in there and look through the dice. I'd get out his bag of dice and just it felt like treasure. I didn't know what I knew it was. And then him and his friends would come over and they would spend all day. Yes, that's exactly. They would spend the day painting their little figures, and I would be the annoying sister, being very Erica Sinclair in Stranger Things. Like, I was like Erica Sinclair, being like, "What are you guys doing?" And they'd be like, "Get out of here!" So I snuck into his room, and he had these pop-up books. That was my first time. It wasn't seeing the films, actually. It was reading. He had every edition I don't remember who published them, but they were pop-up books. So, and I have very, very, like, I know exactly what every page looks like. But for instance, in A New Hope, when Luke is saving Leia, there's a tab you would pull, and Luke would fly Leia over, to make that jump. So I want to find these pop-up books. Like, they didn't survive. We moved and all these things, and we didn't survive, but we had every single one. And the same thing, like when Return of the Jedi, and you've got the skiff guards and them going into the Sarlacc pit. So that's my first memory of Star Wars, was the pop-up books, and then we saw the re-releases. So, and I'll be honest, I don't know that I've ever seen the original cuts before all the re-released stuff. I don't know that sorry. I don't know that I've seen them. I don't know that I've seen them.
That's cool. Go ahead, Laura.
Oh, I was gonna say, I love hearing about the Star Wars, like either the toys or just like the items that we now can't find, but were so essential to like our Star Wars journey as kids.
Yes,
that would probably be worth a fortune right now, but we probably just like
totally. They were falling apart.
In a garage sale.
Yeah, well, because they were falling apart. Like, I pulled on those tabs so much already, so that they were just, and I remember the cover, like the very first one, it's C-3PO and R2D2, and they're very orange and brown, very 70s. So like I really remember them vividly. But those are my first Star Wars memories.
Amazing.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Elora, I'll switch over to you, see if you want to get the conversation going about wardrobes and costumes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll steal your first one because it was one of my first ones too, which is for the audience that doesn't maybe know what goes into the world of costuming in any field, right? The stage, film, all of it. What does a key costumer do? And can you walk us through that?
I'll do my best. I'll be honest. I have not figured out my elevator pitch. And can I tell a quick little tangent story about this? Yes. So I have an 8-year-old son, and I volunteered to do career day one time. I'm never doing it again, I think. I will. But it was an absolute just fail, because I kept emailing back and forth with the school, and I'd say, I'm a key costumer. I'd like to, participate. And they kept going, great. We'd love to have the costume designer of Star Wars. And I had to keep being like, no, I'm not the designer. I'm not the designer. It was this back and forth. I get there, and I had this huge presentation. I was feeling myself. I was feeling very confident, like, who's not going to love this? And then I get there, they shoved me over in this corner, and on my placket, it has my name and it says costume designer. And I was like, no, it's like, why can't we get this right? And this was for 3rd graders to 5th graders. And all that confidence, you guys, kids humble you. They just do. All the speech, all the material I had prepared out the window. I start talking about fittings and scheduling, and their eyes just kind of go cross-eyed, like, what? Do you know anyone famous? Do you know Pedro Pascal? And I'm like, no. I know Brendan Wayne and Lateef. They're like, who's that? What's a stunt guy? And I was like, oh my God. And they went, when they were, going, well, you're not the costume designer. Do you make the costumes? And I would go, no. And they're like, well, so what do you do? And I'm like, Jesus, they're so harsh. And I'm trying to figure it out. I could not figure out the hook, but also they put me next to the dad who designs video games, and nobody's cooler to these kids than dad who designs video games. So it was just like a total disaster. It was a total disaster, but it has a happy ending, because there was this kid who came out, and it's hard to tell the story without getting emotional, who comes up and he's looking at my books. I brought all my books, and I thought it was cool. And, showing him, and he's going, wait, you've touched these costumes? And he starts asking me the questions. I'm like, yes, you're excited. And then he starts telling me, that's amazing, but, I'm not very good in school. He tells me he has ADHD. And I was like, kid, I came here for you. You were my kid that I showed up for, and it's part of why I want to say yes and continue to do more and more of these talks, because I wanted to tell him, let me just tell you, there's nothing wrong with you. You're fine. You have different programming. Everything's okay. It's not you. And it was really beautiful. So we both had this moment. He got excited, and the teacher let him take a picture. which because like phones are not allowed. So that was really special. All that to say that I still don't have the elevator pitch on my job, but I'll try. So here he goes. Take a breath. All right. So the key costumer in film. First of all, film and theater are very different. And I do come from a theatrical costuming background. I was an actor first. I did theater in college. I studied theatrical costuming, yada, yada, yada. I get into independent film. That's its own thing. You learn how to work with camera. I was working with my friends, tons of indie film. Great, great, great. Get into the union. And now, I mean, this is the big leagues. Okay, so now there's a lot of nuance to filmmaking, union filmmaking, and it's stuff that you would never even think of, you guys. It's things like what hangers to use. There's crystal hangers, there's strut hangers, there's all these specific hangers that you need to use. There's just a way to prep, a way to present. All these people, you know, I used to know the producer was the director, was my friend when I was doing indie film. Now, especially working with Lucasfilm, I worked, like for me, working with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, we're doing these meetings. That being said, I'll be honest, I don't know that they know my name. I don't know that they've seen me. If they saw me, they would recognize me, but we're in Zoom meetings. They're talking to all of us in a group. It's very rarely one-on-one. So, and yet, you know, I know them so well. I learned how to read Dave Filoni specifically. He talks a lot with his expressions. I mean, I'm sure you see, so he'll say something. He's so kind when he's giving feedback, but I could also go, oh, your eyebrow went up. There's something here you didn't like. You know, I can kind of, he has tells when he doesn't really like something or something's not really vibing. Same with John, you know. So anyway, but what I do as a key costumer, essentially, I climbed the ranks. You know, I started out as a set costumer, meaning that I was on set. That was my job on season 2. And on set, you're supporting at that point, all the costumes have been designed. They've arrived, and there's an entire team that's just there to help the actors get dressed in the morning. Then maintaining continuity that is the biggest part of your job when you're a set costumer, is that you have to make sure that every time these stormtroopers go to the bathroom, that they have come back and put all their pieces where they're supposed to go. And here, I have a little diagram here that this is another costumer made this. It's the tricks to Thomas Scouts, which were, something happened. Are you all still there?
No,
we're here.
I made it bigger so we could see.
Okay, so this little diagram, and it's basically rules of how to wrap a Tusken Raider, like the wraps.
Gosh.
They hand wraps. So somewhat, because what was going on is season 2 was so big, they put me onto I was on the second unit. Second unit in our world generally means, I think it's the most fun. I think it's where a lot of the stunts happen. There's not and that's why I spent so much time with Latif and a lot of our stunt gentlemen and women. And the background was all that stunt, all of the dragon, and I mean, that's all happening on second unit. First unit's mostly going to be with Brendan, and the dialogue, you know, Carl Weathers and all of that, the heavy hitters, they're going to be over there. But on second unit, a lot of times you don't have sound. So we would blast Star Wars music. We would blast all kinds of music, and we're where the action's happening. It's so fun. It's just so fun. Yeah. So that's what you're doing as a set costumer. You're helping everybody stay safe. Also, there's heavy weapons. It's dangerous, frankly, and we're maintaining these costumes and just making sure that everybody's helping them getting, especially with the Tusken Raiders. You know, like with Rory and with Warren. I met Warren on season 2. Also, I don't know if you've interviewed Dimitri. You ever interviewed?
No, we met him down at the convention that we were just at, because Warren was there and Dimitri was actually in the booth right next to him.
Oh, great. They're good friends. Both of them really good friends of mine. So I met the two of them then, and it was helping them get in and out of their masks. So anyway, that's what you're doing as a set costumer, as a finished set costumer. When I got to, during the pandemic, Shauna Tripsick called me, and she just out of the blue, I, again, didn't know that she knew who I was really well at all. I was just flattered. She called me and she asked me to come work with her in the warehouse. And I was just like, yes, yes, it's a full-time job. And I moved to near Manhattan Beach Studios to Redondo Beach. And I put down, I'm still here. I love it. And so I started working with her. Now in that job, I'm just taking you through kind of like the ladder, because I climbed the ladder. So I was there as a fitter, and now my job was on the creative side. So Shauna and her assistant costume designer, she has a whole team. Now I'm meeting the artisans. I'm meeting the custom made people, the specialty people, the stitchers, the drapers, the pattern makers, all of the, I mean, it is a whole huge warehouse team of people that are there to make the Star Wars. So she had a process. I won't go into it too much because I've talked about it in so much in other outlets, but essentially we got to be part of the creative process with her. And we were doing fittings. That was my primary job, was helping to pull stock and support my key costumer at the time. She taught me how to do these fittings, how to make a Star Wars. I learned that from her. And I also learned what it takes. The logistics of it all are just mind-boggling because our numbers and background are really quite large. Yeah. And also during Book of Boba Fett, I'll jump around a lot, but during Book of Boba Fett, because we were trying to limit how many people were in contact with our leads, right? We're still being very conscientious. We don't want anyone to get sick. We decided to do, well, we didn't decide, production had this idea to go, all right, Aaron, we're going to have you fit for multiple roles. And they do that with creatures quite often, or masked characters. They don't often do it with humans until Book of Boba Fett. And it was really out of safety and necessity. So we would bring in people and we would have 4-hour fittings, fitting them in multiple looks so that they could have variations across different categories and also multiple days. And that was, I mean, it was a undertaking. And in that 4 hours, when you're with an actor, you get real intimate real fast. You know, they're telling us a common question during that time was, how is your quarantine? And that was kind of my, what does Star Wars mean to you? People just trauma dumped but in a good way, in a healthy way. It was actually really therapeutic. I have so many, I could do a whole episode just about the stories that people told me. It was a really special time. And it was kind of like we were all healing together. So once again, and those fitting rooms, I say this all the time, that is the fittings on Book of Boba Fett are what cemented my what I feel is my calling to continue this work, because people really heal in the fitting room. People have, I'm sure you've heard this, Katie Sackhoff has talked about this. Body dysmorphia is a really big issue, especially in the acting community. And so when you're in a position to be with an actor and they're in a very vulnerable space, you know, they're essentially naked in front of you and you're judging them, right? That's what they're used to. And a lot of them carry a lot of trauma. We get to, what a gift and a privilege to be able to help work through some of that with them and just reframe some of the limiting beliefs that they have about their body types. And that's probably one of my favorite things about Star Wars, is that in Star Wars, it doesn't matter if you're tall, you're short, you're white, we'll take any shape or form is welcome in Star Wars. And that's my favorite thing. There really isn't a whole lot of limitation other than uniforms. For obvious reasons, there's those have specific specs, but other than that, anybody is welcome to come and play in the universe of Star Wars. So I love that. And so anyway, when our key left the show, Shauna asked me, and I kept turning her down. I was terrified. I was like, I've never key costumed. Are you sure I'm ready? And I kept saying no. And she would bring people on who just were this is the thing, is that they were very experienced. I was like, you want someone more experienced than me? But she's like, yeah, but you care, you know? And I do. I really care. And so I finally went, okay, I guess I'll try. I'll give this a go. And I said yes. So as a key costumer, now this is kind of the boring stuff. Sorry, I can't make this sound more interesting. But essentially, a lot of my job is logistics. Is it boring? I don't know.
No.
This is usually where I feel like people kind of go, but it's a lot of logistics. The key, if you imagine in the department, you have your designer, who's mostly creative, your supervisor, they're sort of on an equal playing field. They're tackling this massive storytelling from different ends. So the designer's creative, your supervisor is timelines, budgets, staffing, and then down here, just a step down, you have your assistant costume designer that's assisting with the design, and then you have your coordinators who are literally figuring out transportation for the costumes, very important. And then down here we have custom made people, and there's different designations. There's specialty, there's agers and dyers, there's painters, armorers, leather makers, milliners. This is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. And then we have our pattern makers, our drapers, our stitchers, all of them. The key costumer, if you can imagine, in the web is actually right there in the middle. And that is my favorite place to be, because I'm essentially the hub of, on any show really, the key costumer is in the middle right there, who is the hub of information and communication for all of those things. It's where everything intersects, and you're also where the point person of communication for the set costumers. All of that is sort of being filtered through you. Same thing with production when we're talking about scheduling fittings, people needing to be replaced, size requirements, all of that, and numbers. And on top of that, we're tracking, and I'm doing fittings also. I'm pulling the creative things so I get to do a little bit of everything, which is fantastic for my ADHD mind, is that I can focus whenever. I can juggle 100 balls in the air. Ask me to juggle 2? Absolutely not. I cannot. I can't do it. I can't. The 2 balls will be on the floor. But 10, give me 100, stormtroopers. Absolutely.
I manage
that helps. Hope I explained it.
I was gonna say I manage events for a living, so you saying your job is mostly logistical is not boring to me in the slightest.
I like spreadsheets, right? I do
love a spreadsheet.
Oh my god, Excel sheets on Google is like, this is my happy place. Just let me plug in. I feel so cool when I input a formula. It's just so nerdy and so fun,
Well, you've walked us through this amazing journey of your career, your ability and love for creating safe spaces for your actors, being able to, have those moments where you see the inspiration of that kind of art inspiring other kids that you identify with.
Yes.
I'm curious, what led you down this path? What was your inspiring moment?
Sure.
How did you get here?
I'll try. It's so hard, guys. I'm so long-winded. I'll try to keep it. Okay.
We love it.
Good. Well, as I said, I think I came out the womb, just knowing I was a little bit different. And, but so I've always been very dramatic. And in high school, I was voted most dramatic. It holds up. It's accurate. But and I was on a track I wanted to be an actor first, I think because that's all I knew there was, right? Because at our career day, we didn't have costume designers. We had, it was like doctor, lawyer, all necessary, right? To survive, we need all of that. But I wasn't seeing myself like a career path other than acting. It just seemed kind of the obvious thing. So so I would do these little one-man shows for if ever there was a school project, I was like, I'm gonna produce it all and I'll be the actress, but actors need costumes. It was the first thing I thought of. So I do think the writing was on the wall then, and I didn't know how to sew then, so I would make costumes out of paper. There was this little kind of supply closet in our home, and we had poster board and Mr. Sketch markers. Oh my God, and a stapler and tape. And tape. Guys, I think you know where I'm going with the tape, because little did I know that tape is a key ingredient in Star Wars. In one of our set costumers, her name is Mary Gossett. She's the costumer to Brendan Wayne, to the Mandalorian, and she made us a pin. I wish I brought it. It's somewhere. It says tape and prayers, and that is how, frankly, that is how sometimes the only way that a costume stays on. So I love that. I love that I started making costumes with tape, and I'm still making costumes with tape. So so that's what I was doing. I was making costumes. And then in high school, when I would do high school plays, I always wanted to take care of my own costume. I was like, the volunteer teachers and parents, they would help the other students, but I was like, no, I think it's a good thing I didn't become an actor. I think I would have probably been a pain in the ass, honestly. I think I would have been some kind of diva, because I would have been like, I want to do, and I'm, in my position now, I'd be like, you don't want that from your actor, over.
Yeah.
You don't want them to take over. You want to let them do your job. Collaboration is one thing. So I think it's best for everybody that this is how it worked out. But yeah, I wanted to costume myself. So I costumed a lot of my costumes. I costumed, my mom and I would costume myself. And then, yeah, in college, so yes, sorry, see, it's boring. Getting to college, I did theatrical costuming as like a backup. I was like, this will be my backup as I'm working toward acting. But then Lord of the Rings came out with those extended editions, and my mind was blown. I literally went and switched. I think I binge watched all 11. I think it's 11 hours, right, of the boxed sets.
Something like that, yeah.
I binge watched them. And I was like, I need to go work in costumes. This is it. So I went and switched my major, and I was terrible. I didn't know how to sew. Everybody else was like, oh, I've been sewing since I was a kid. I knew how to hand sew, but they were sewing me like under the table, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So what was I getting? I was getting the low budget shows, because part of the degree requirements was that you had to design, at least 2 shows. And I have to catch up. So I was taking every little project I could. I was just like, I need to learn. I have to catch up with all these people that know all this stuff, and I know nothing. So, and again, this worked out in my favor because all those students that had been doing it forever, they had all the good stuff. They got the good machines that never made weird noises. They got the good cutting tables. I was cutting fabric on the floors of the hallway at San Francisco State, and just whatever little space. I got the crappy scissors, So sorry, that's a bad
You're
word.
fine. You're fine.
And look, I did that. I can't tell you how many times, like Shauna would bring in, when I was learning how to figure out Star Wars, she would bring in bolts of fabric and toss them into the fitting room, and I'm going like, what am I supposed to do with this? And she'd get out scissors. I learned that from her. She would get out scissors and she would start draping on a person, and I followed suit, and that is the way to do it, honestly. Like, you don't need all that other stuff. You just need your imagination running wild. Enjoy, right? It's so fun. So we got, we locked in. There's obviously technical things, because at the end of all of that cool idea, you are also still juggling. There's a practicality to it. So as fun as we're having, I also have to know, I'm considering, well, when is this due, right? I have to make sure, is this due in a week? If it's due in a week, then we're going to do all this stuff. If it's due tomorrow, we'll probably, cheat things a little bit. So we are also, I'm doing constant math in my head, just time math, right? Trying to calculate, like, what else do they have on their docket, right? I'm not going to do a crazy fitting if they have 10, 20 other things. There's a lot of logistics that are happening, all kind of running in the back window here as you're running your fitting, all at the same time. It's just everything everywhere all at once. Yeah. So, which is a great movie too, by the way. So, I went off on a tangent. Was I answering it? I don't remember.
I think so. Yeah, we were just kind of curious, like, what inspired you to become a costumer.
I think I kind of answered it. Yeah, I mean, it was sort of a natural prediction. Essentially, just that I wanted to be an actor first. Saw these movies; they inspired me. I think for sure, there's no doubt in my mind that it was Lord of the Rings. And all of the behind the scenes, the extended editions, all the commentary, I just devoured it. And I love it all. It's so much more I think it's so much more fun being part of the creative process. And set is fun too. I do love set. That's actually where I live now. I've stepped out of prep because it is as wonderful as it is. It's very mentally taxing. You can't kind of ever leave it alone. So when you go home, people are calling you about casting. There's always a fire to put out. Now I'm focused on being a key set costumer. That is actually a different job. So it's a similar title, but a key set costumer. Do you want me to explain that real quick?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, so a key set costumer, what I take care of the background. This is the world that I do not do principals. I love the background world. That's where the world building in. That's the flavor, you guys. It's the special sauce. Think about Fallout. I mean, we could talk about that later. All of those people that are filling out. I mean, I think to me, and you have your phenomenal actors taking center stage, obviously, but all those people in Freeside, they're fantastic. And the creative team, the designer, Dana Pink, she's incredible, her key costumer, and they're Emmy nominated, and rightfully so. They did a really great job, and it was really a treat to be able to play with those costumes on set. So as a key, and I wasn't a key set on that show, but I've been a key set costumer more lately. I was on Jumanji. I was the key background set. So there, it's kind of a similar thing. Now the baton has been passed. I'm coordinating with the key costumer in the offices, and there's multiple key. There's a key for principals, a key for stunts, a key for background. So I'm usually working with the key from the office for background. And so she's now downloading the information to me, and now I've got the baton, and I'm making sure that everybody's in the correct costume on the day. I'm also figuring out how we're going to set it up. What is our wrap process at the end of the night? Because are these people being recalled? And also, I think this is my favorite privilege, is if they go, we want 10 more people back tomorrow, a lot of times they'll ask me, and I get to have that input to go like, these guys take care of their costumes. Let's call these 10 people back who, like Warren, and he talked about that, right, in one of your episodes. He gets along with everyone. He always hangs his clothes in the correct order. There is actually a correct way to do it that's best for costumes, and he's just so easygoing, and we love that. That's how you get asked back. That's, you don't bring your ear pods to set. That's my pet peeve. I hate when I see an ear pod on set. Get that out of here. Yeah. So that's my job now.
I love it. Brown Leader, cut me off.
No,
if
you're
I'm
fine.
like
Keep
taking
going.
too much time.
No, you're good.
I agree, and someone commented as well that the background tells the story, and so
Absolutely.
Incredible. You have said twice now that you've learned how to make Star Wars or something to that similar vein. Explain what you mean when it comes to costuming.
Yeah, there's when I first of all, obviously there's basics in every world. Like we have a long sleeve shirt, a pant, but what makes it a Star Wars? And I think it's a little bit of like I said, it sounds cheesy, but you have to find the joy in it. But it's learning to use. I think this is the biggest hack: is repurposing something that is easily accessible to you and creating shapes with it. When you look at the composition of reoccurring Star Wars, there aren't actually that many shapes in Star Wars land. If you really, really dial it down, there's long gowns, there's vests over gowns, there's collar, but they really kind of stick to kind of a basic, I don't know, I don't want to say 10, I want to give it a number, but there's essentially shapes that there are reused. There's shoulder lines that are reused, and I see them all the time. So when you watch enough of these things and you start to recognize, a very common one like Han Solo wearing his vest over his shirt, that's a very common Star Wars like outfit, is undershirt, vest, and then usually arm wraps, right? If we're on a dusty planet, arm wraps are very Star Wars. The wide belts with something layered over it is very Star Wars. Goggles, something protecting you from not evil, but dangerous creatures in space. Weapons, right? Because someone's always trying to steal your credits, and so there's definitely a defensiveness to that, unless you're on the upper echelon of Coruscant. Those people, they don't have weapons. And if you're the upper crust, lower levels, sure. But and obviously the different planets and the different sets dictate what the color palettes are. So the color palette and the production design really influence the fabrics. If you're on, they talked about that a lot in Andor. Right, we go to a whole fashion planet, and that had a very specific color palette. But for me, I mentioned this before, I think the duct tape of Star Wars is a Greebly. When in doubt, if you put a little Greebly on something, I feel like that immediately makes it Star Wars. And like we had whole fittings. We'd take pictures and we would send them to Shauna, and she'd go, it doesn't quite feel Star Wars yet. We would stick a Greebly on it, and then we'd get a great thumbs up. It was kind of our duct tape. But there's motifs. If you want to be, again, more specific, let's just say quilting. Quilting is very universally Star Wars. Just, very thick, like a quilted cotton. The ribbing when you look at some of the X-Wings, they do this, or like in Rogue One, that ribbing, you see that ribbing a ton. That is very Star Wars. There's a poncho is so Star Wars. And obviously because there's the Japanese influence to it, a Mandarin collar or a band collar, we don't say Mandarin collar anymore, but a band collar or a kimono, a robe is very Star Wars. You don't realize that you know it, but you do know it. You all know it, and you know it when you see it, but you can't actually break it down. You can't actually dial it down to, okay, it's a kimono, essentially. It's an obi shape with a leather belt and with, so I don't know if that answers it. Yeah.
Oh, it does.
Oh yeah.
That's again tip of the iceberg. One of these days I was talking to my friend Vincent about this recently. I was like, I want to do a Star Wars series and just do a demonstration, because I know I talk about this a lot, but here I have, don't ask me why I have this like curtain, but like I'll just show you real quick. It's like we have to do it very fast, right? Because the principals get pattern makers and they have all this time to do mock-ups and things. We don't have that time but I have to outfit 100 of these guys, and I got to do it in like 2 days. So we don't get that kind. So I'll try to see if I can kind of just show you, but like this is a curtain, all right? And suddenly if you pleat this here, this is like one of my favorite hacks. If I pleat this curtain, now look with this little pleating right here. This is not the best fabric for it, but like look at this shape. This shape, you put it here, you put it around your neck, you put it like, look, do you see, like there's so much possibility just right.
It's very Mon Mothma. Yeah.
It totally is. I mean, if you look at her, she's not super complicated. I mean, but it's like you do a little of it just, I do a lot of pleated rectangles. I used to just send them to the workroom, take pleated rectangles, stick some scissors on it, make an obi. It happens really fast, and then it looks amazing. Obviously, once the stitching is done, once it's actually finished, once it's been over dyed, remember, because these things nothing's going to be off the rack. I took this, I cut up carpets. One of my favorite costumes that went on display at Star Wars Celebration in 2022, I made it out of a carpet, like we cut it up and it became her hat. And there's pictures of it all over. It became a hat, and then it became also what was left over. It became the front panel because that's another very Star Wars thing, is a long front panel, either going down the front or panels down the side, hanging off of the waist. Crop tops actually are very Star Wars. So I could go on and on. There's not that many shapes, and then it's really color. It's fabric. It's color and fabric that you're playing with, but the shapes really stay the same.
What? Sorry, I'm dominating this. Does anybody else have a question?
I want to ask. So we did have a question from the comment, and first of all, before we get to that, I want to say, Star Wars Hunter chimed in, and I want to give Star Wars Hunter some recognition. So this is another interview where the connection was made via Star Wars Hunter's assistance, and the guy's been great. He's hooked us up with a lot of guests over the last couple months, and so glad to see you in the chat, sir. Thank you for joining the show, and thank you for making the connection.
Hi, Clint.
So for Max Rebo, you wanted to know, do you think the white belt is inspired by Obi?
1000%. A lot of our research is Kurosawa, obviously, and Japanese. We have so many in our library that we had at Lucasfilm in the costume department. And not only there, we had a massive library, but we all, because all of us are nerds, all had our own libraries. And so I have my own library, and I have books on one of the pattern makers, Shannon Short, who designed, or he did the pattern making, I should say, for Ahsoka. I was telling him, I really want to learn more. It was really sweet because I was still kind of learning how to figure out what Star Wars was. And he was like, he went on, I think, eBay and bought me all these secondhand books on kimonos. And I thought that was really sweet. He was helping me figure it out. And you go to the source material. It's all building on what John Mallo did, You have to go figure out what that thing that he probably just thought looked cool.
Yeah.
Wish we could ask him, like, why this?
Right on.
But I do think knowing what it's like to be there, especially because it's TV. I work on The Mandalorian and Grogu as well, but my favorite time is really working on the TV. We're working so fast that you're trying to make it work with what is there, and it's very scrappy, but you got to make it look amazing, and you do that with an amazing team that's very, very skilled. It's fun.
That is fun.
That is cool.
What could you walk us through the life of a costume from its like concept to, us seeing it on screen, and like maybe it doesn't, but maybe it does. How does that differ from the principles to what you manage, like a clone army?
Oh my God, that is a lot. It's such there's so many hands that go into it. So before we even enter the chat room, there is a lot of the concept starts with Dave and John. I'm obviously speaking for my shows that I worked on. John and Dave, they've been cooking for a month. I mean, maybe even over a year before we're even there, before we're even hired, before the designer's even hired. So they have a pretty good idea. They're also working with concept artists, right? And Doug Chang being the production designer, he has his big picture. Brian Matias, if you know who he is, he's if you're not following his page, he posts now, he posts illustrations, and I love those illustrations because we had to become very familiar with them because like he did the concept work for Ahsoka and a lot of the principal characters that you've seen. And this is where, the designer is going to focus on that execution and figuring out her special flavor and adding her layers and layers of element to it. But they don't really do concept art too much or too deeply for the background. We have a general sense. They might do sort of a wide, so or we used to call them paper dolls. So what we would do is Brian Matias would make for instance, when we did in season 3 the Mandalorians, the different factions of the Mandalorians, he had a couple, and then Shauna also had her own illustrator, Mario Cecilio. We're sort of riffing off of each other, but they're not going to design literally every single one of those 80 Mandalorian. So we have a rough idea of what it's supposed to look like, these paper dolls, but then we get to create them in the fitting room. So after we have, and then this is where casting comes in, because this is, if I'm taking you through this, right? So we have the concept art, but I'll talk about the background, right? That's my world. We get the concept art, we start to accumulate our stock. What are we even going to fit with? And we made those Mandalorians in-house. Those were produced by our IATSE motion picture costumer, Local 705 specialty costumers. So Union in California, very skilled artists. So they came and we had this huge warehouse. We actually moved to a bigger warehouse so that we could manufacture them in-house. And so we had all these tables, they laid them out and they began mass producing them. I had never worked in mass production with armor. My experience with armor was very limited. I was used to working with on set from all those previous seasons, but not to see it from, it's it's chemistry. It's actual chemistry. They're mixing up all these things. We had to move into this building that was coded differently, and all of these safety precautions, all of this stuff, right? That's all over there. But that was really cool because, I had to learn all of these things to ask them, like, I don't know all the technical terms, so cosplayers don't make fun of me, but it was like, for me, my logistics, I need to know from the time that they've done a run of, let's say, Mandalorian busts, at what point does the gray stuff dry so I can schedule my fittings and I can put it on a person? And we were moving so fast, and they also moved up our big scene when we were doing the Mandalorians. They moved it up by 2 months, and that was so wild. I was key costuming, and I was still learning I know how to work with soft goods, which is, anything soft, but the hard goods, that it's its own beast, their own timelines. There is a finite amount of time that paint and glue need to set before you can really fit them. And we actually didn't have time to wait for them to be painted. So when we were doing all of those fittings, so this is the next step, right? While those are going into production, fabrication, I am scheduling the fittings and I'm looking for certain body types. We can't, in theater, usually you get sizes, then you are custom making something for that specific performer, like let's say opera. Your everything is bespoke. Not everything, but your leads obviously is bespoke to them. Well, what we don't have that luxury of time in theater and in film and television. We don't have, especially because the schedules are constantly changing. So so essentially, I'm having to work with casting to give them the specs. I'll tell them we need an obvious one is a stormtrooper, right? You have to be the shortest you can be is 5'10" without shoes. And this is really funny because no matter how many times I say that, and I will tell them, call all of these submissions and tell them that the first thing we do when they show up is we're going to measure them. I have a measuring tape on the wall. And we're going to measure them. Don't even bother. If you are not 5'10" without shoes, don't do it. And I was like, I don't want a Hollywood 6 foot. A Hollywood 6 foot is 5'10". Like I should say, I'll take a Hollywood 6 foot. I don't need a Hollywood 5'10", because if in Hollywood, if your resume, it's obviously it's not everybody. If your resume says 5'10", you're probably 5'8" or 5'7.5". And they would still come. They would still come so hopeful. And I would just have to, I'm sorry, you're literally too short to be a stormtrooper. Like that was an actual thing. I had to, I wouldn't say it like that.
Of course not.
But it was sort of frustrating sometimes where I'm like, wow, like it's bless your heart, but you can't be a stormtrooper. You can't be a stormtrooper. So anyway, so there are real restrictions to the costumes, and some of it is for safety, like just for practicality. The knees, they're a certain height, and if you're too short, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to walk because that armor is going to hit the top of your foot. And there was a guy who snuck through. There was one day that I was somewhere else. Someone else was doing fittings. We get to set and he was complaining so much. And I was like, what's going on? I go over and it's like, he's showing us. And I was like, oh no, like this is a liability. We can't have. And that was really kind of a bummer, but we had to essentially send him home and say, like, you can't be like, I don't know how you snuck in. Someone let him in. It wasn't, but it was only by half an inch. I think that's the hardest part. It was only by half an inch. You can't, lifts isn't going to help because then the shoe doesn't sit right. So it's really kind of it's a pretty hard rule, and I hate to be the enforcer of it, but it's true. So anyway, so we fit these people, but when we were doing those Mandalorians at that time, they weren't painted and they didn't have closures. You can't put closures on before they're done being painted. There's so many steps, you guys, that go into it. We literally would take saran wrap and we saran wrapped the armor, the gray armor. Wow. Saran wrapped it to their body so that we could still move forward, because the soft goods, they were done. We needed to move forward with that end, and so the Velcro and the closures on their costumes. So you're managing timelines of two different places. The hard things, the soft things, it all has to come back together, and and we're not even talking about the aging and dying of it all. Like it has to go in a certain order. You don't ever really want to sew costumes before or after they've been aged, because that mucks up the machines. And then same thing with dyeing. If you dye fabric, it needs time to dry. So that's there's so much time math that factors into manufacturing it. And for principals, that's its own thing, but I'm doing it on a large scale, right? We're talking about, it's a large scale of different pieces. And for, let's say, a Mandalorian, that's like 22 individual pieces of armor, something like that. And then multiply that by multiple battalions. All of those pieces have to make it not only through all of the works, they have to all be finished, they all have to be painted, they all go back to they're not really interchangeable. Every piece is, even though they're cut the same, they're painted different, they all have to go back to the same place, tracked back to the same table. Wow. Then they have to there's photographs, there's checklists, there's all of these different points, then packed, then transported to set, and handed off to a different team who's seeing them for the first time. It is a massive, massive undertaking. quantum costumes.
Quantum costumes. There's a username.
Yeah, no, I thought about it. I was like, I should do like, because calculating the time is something that I've gotten very good at, but it's just experience, to quote Captain Rex, right? In my book, there's no, what does he say? In my book, experience is the greatest thing. What does he say?
Yeah,
Something like
experience
that.
matters more. Yeah.
It does. No one's going to tell me how long. I know how long. I know how long it takes for the gray stuff to dry so I can put it on a person.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So
I think I already explained the set costuming. We're kind of going backward, but I think that marries up to, I already told you about what it's like to be a set costumer.
Yeah. So comment from the chat: for all the pressure you're under, you do a great job getting it done to tell the story. Amazing. And then we have a question from Max Rebo Experience. Garza Fwip's wardrobe was spectacular. Did you work on it at all?
Oh, no, I wish. I touched the fabric all the time. This is the fun thing is like, I'm looking over there. We're right next to it. There's two workrooms when we were working together. There's the workroom that primarily focused on background and stunts, all of the non-speaking roles. And then all the people that are focused on the principals, and we're all friends. So there would be times, like Luis is one of the custom-made people, and Vicky, she is an amazing tailor pattern maker, and she doesn't get enough. She's so humble. Most of these people are so humble. They don't talk about themselves enough. Anyway, Vicky worked on Garza, and I got to see the sketches. The concept art was beautiful, but then the translation of them finding the fabric, and seeing the evolution of all the different fabrics, and then our specialty people who are crafting all of her jewelry and her headpieces. I saw it firsthand. So I didn't work on them. I had nothing to do with the logistics at all. I wasn't in her fittings, but at lunchtime I'd be like, how is your fitting with the Jennifer Beal? Tell us the tea. That's my favorite part. That's when we all kind of spill the tea about, like, I'll tell them about my background fittings and they'll tell me about their principal fittings, and we pop in all the time. I popped in, I see them all the time, but I didn't work on her costumes. They're gorgeous though. Beautiful.
Brownie 1, I'll let you sneak in with a question here.
Yeah, there's so many ways I could go with it. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm like a Hollywood 5'8 3/4, so I don't think I'd quite make it, unfortunately. But you had mentioned Fallout before, and I wanted to circle around to that for a little bit, just because I love that show. And I just want to know how you got involved with that and what your experience was like working on that versus like Star Wars.
Yeah, I was planning to take a break. LOL. Every time I say I think I've earned some rest, and I'll say to myself, I'll take a rest unless something really juicy comes along. If someone calls me, and I literally said I was planning to take a break after, because I did so many of these shows sequentially, right? They ran right into each other, and I did Foundation right after Ahsoka. We went to Prague, we did Foundation, and then came back, which is same, right? I don't know if you've ever seen Foundation.
Yep.
It's like basically also one of the very similar roots of, what is it called? Star Wars drew inspiration from those books. So that was cool, kind of going backward and working on some of the source material for Star Wars. But it's very similar. There's clones, obviously not the same clones. Sorry, I know I segued. But anyway, after the movie, I really need to take a break. It's fun. I'm exhausted. I need to sort of recalibrate. And my friend, Lawrence Kwan, is he was my set partner. We worked together I think we met on season 3 of The Mandalorian. And he became just one of my he's what I call, we use this term in theater, a swing costumer. That person is kind of a floater costumer. So he would help me in prep. He's like the handyman. He can do, if I need him to help with fittings, he'll help with fittings. If he needs to go to set, he'll go to set. You want to have that person who's kind of he's very experienced. He's a lot older than I am, and he's been doing it forever. And we just really connected. And so anyway, but he didn't get to work on the movie. Unfortunately, he was on something else. But yeah, at the end of, people were kind of freaking out, like, oh, we've had a good run, what are we going to do? I ended up finishing The Mandalorian and Grogu sooner than everyone else, a lot of people, because the background finished in October of 2023, and then I was going to be available. Lawrence calls me and he's like, hey, I'm doing this show. Do you want to come day play? And I said, great. Yeah, I'd love to. I go on, and then shortly after they were like, like you know what you're doing, and it is a very specific working in sci-fi and fantasy. I take for granted because I've been doing it for a long time now, but it's not for everyone. And there are certain skills that you just learn doing it. And one of them I'll talk about is, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on what they're called? Pick points. Do you know what a pick point is? Okay, so in stunts, you know that Fallout is a very stunt-heavy show. When we went to go do the shootout, the cons, that we're shooting at a pool, like at this crusty old hotel, like out in Baker somewhere. And they called me because they were like, can you actually come on full time? And this was Thanksgiving week. We shot that Thanksgiving week. There goes my break. So I went, well, yeah, I'm going to do it. We take a bus out there. They put us up in a hotel, and I had all of my gear. And what's happening when you're doing stunts like at that speed, this is not a show you learn on at all. This is not a beginner show, because something about a pick point is a hole. It's a hole that you make in the costume when they do a specific stunt, wire work. It's either wire work or ratchet pulls. And essentially the stunt person has to put on this harness. And I'm sure you've seen, if in behind the scenes stuff, they put on the harness. The stunt riggers have to attach these wires, these cables to the harness and then pull them. And so when that guy, he gets blasted and someone is ratchet pulled across the pool, it's this massive scene. I don't know if you remember which part of it is. That's a ratchet pull. In that moment, you have to be able to know exactly, because you can't really do it ahead of time. This is a misinformation. I'm going to tell, if any costumers ever hear this, I hear sometimes in film school that, oh, you should do this beforehand. That is no. The experience, let me tell you, you do not do this ahead of time. Because remember, people's weight fluctuates. About 5 pounds daily is your average, but what you did in a fitting a week ago is not going to be how you wear your body. Your weight sits a little differently every single day. So, as you know, things are moving through your body. So when your stunt person, or also, what if that guy gets replaced? This is very common. Stunt people fit a costume, they get offered something better and juicier, and they leave. And then we have to replace someone with some. So this is why there's a million, please trust me, never do it ahead of time. I'm sure there's exceptions to that rule, but I hear it in film school. People think like they're so proud of this. I'm like, no, I don't know who's telling you that. Stop it. So they put it on. They have to wear all of these layers. They put on the costume, and this is the thing. Your experience. You need to be able to know where to put that hole, because this is all where, you don't want to hold camera, right? Like golden rule number 9, do not hold the camera. And you know what that means. You don't want to prevent camera. Once camera is ready, you better be ready. Costumes better be ready. I don't care what is happening. We need to be ready. So it's very fast. There's a lot of pressure. So again, I love it. I love the pressure. Bring it on. But in that moment, I'm getting out my seam ripper, maybe my tiny scissors. I've got to figure out where those pick points are going to go, because I have seen sometimes, hopefully there's a duplicate of this costume, but what if there isn't? And I don't always have that information. I'm there in the moment. I don't know if this is the hero costumes. Sometimes they ask you to do it on the hero costume. The hero costume, I'm sure you know, is the main one. It's the best version of the of the costume. If there's multiples, it's the prettiest one. So anyway, you have to make those holes very quickly, precisely, and make sure that they can be repairable if possible. So you're going to do them in the seam. I know I'm getting very technical, because I've seen pick points done badly. Well, they're panic. They didn't have the experience. They'll slash through a part of the fabric that now you've ruined it, and we can't go back because we don't shoot sequentially. Most of the time we don't shoot sequentially now, and I don't know why they do this. I'm sure there's reasons, but a lot of times you do the dirty work first, and then you got to go back to a clean version of it. And if you've ruined that pick, if you didn't have the experience to know that, or to know what questions to ask, like we're all on walkies on set, and I do this, I'm a total eavesdropper. If someone on set says, hey, can so-and-so go to 2? Oh, we're going to 2. I'm going to go to 2, channel 2, and I'm going to listen for that information. Sometimes it's just tea, but sometimes there is actual information. And I'll go, oh, let me think 10 steps ahead. I know what's coming. Let me rush back to wrap the background, because I'm kind of, so you're following the breadcrumbs. You're looking around the corners. You're trying to think 10 steps ahead of what production is going to do on set. This is what I mean, is you learn these, pattern recognition comes in very handy. You get screwed over enough times on set, you start to read the writing on the wall. This director always directs this way, or I'm going to go ahead and call him out, but I'm doing it in a positive way. The stunt coordinator named Greg Renenter, he was the stunt coordinator on The Mandalorian season 2. He is my nickname for him was, wouldn't it be great if? So Greg, Greg likes to go, hey guys, I know we planned this thing with these pirates, but wouldn't it be great if? I'm getting the phone out. I'm calling Shauna. The second he starts going, wouldn't it be great if? I know he's about to ask me for 10 more pirates. There's going to be a splinter unit. We're going to need more costumes. That's what I know. And now it's all hands on deck. It's so fun. And I've worked with him since. And I kind of think he's the reason why Shauna might have noticed me. In a weird way, I think he might be the reason, because he was always needing extra costumes we didn't plan for. And he does it with a really big smile, and you can't say no. So yeah, we'd call Shauna, she'd say yes. And he's exactly, we worked on Bad Boys together, and same thing. He also did some of Jumanji. So I've worked together with him multiple times, and oh, Greg, wouldn't it be great if? He makes a fun day for us, but we love him.
That's amazing. Elora, we'll go back to, I know you probably have some more.
Oh my gosh, I was just enjoying that so much. Nothing off the top of my head. Let me look at what I wrote down a bunch of stuff because I was so excited to talk to you.
Well, while you're looking for a question, I'll ask something. So Gia, Shauna was an amazing force, in costuming, and so Emmy Award winning, just an amazing person. Can you share a little bit about what it was like working with her?
Wonderful. I have a tattoo in honor of her.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. So essentially what it is Shauna she always liked to tell us that she was a rebel, and she was a graffiti artist. And something that she did quite often was she would sneak this symbol. It was her tag, her graffiti tag. She would sneak it into a costume after they had already been approved. So that was sort of her way of being like, I'm here, and it represents a flamingo. Why a flamingo? I don't know. I never asked her. She's been doing this since Firefly. I believe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
wow.
It's one of those things I want to ask. I want to ask Joseph, her son. I want to ask him about that. I'm sure he probably knows. But she also snuck it into on one of the Mandalorians. The captain, he has this locket, and inside, you'll never see this. You'll never see it on camera. But there, inside of the locket, is her symbol. It's just like I see, and so flamingos. Everyone, like in the fan community, I don't know if you know that, but that's sort of her symbol is a flamingo. She was just a force of creativity. And you might not think she was watching, but she was always watching. And one of her things was she pushed us. I wasn't the only one that she really pushed to step up. There were a lot of us. She liked to surround herself, I think, with kind of all the oddbirds. She collected us. Like we were a little bit, we're just her little like team of, it reminds me of, I hope this is sweet. It makes me think of the scene in WALL-E where WALL-E gets like all of the droids that are like, everyone thinks there's something wrong with them. No, that's kind of like what it feels like to me. Like we were just her like little band of rebels, but and all of us, we worked so well together. It was such a fun time working with her because she was very collaborative, and it was just creative jazz, and it was chaotic, It was definitely chaotic, but it was just fun. And that's one of those things where there's specific crew members who got to work with her. We knew the best times to ask her a question, that's like, oh, she's in a good mood, go ask her this right now. Like, you get to know your boss that way. It's like, oh, go out. Or, we would sort of tell each other, like, did she have coffee? Oh no, don't ask her if she rarely drank coffee. She wasn't a coffee drinker, but if by accident she had caffeine, that was not the time to ask her a question, because all of a sudden she would just be all hopped up in all of these ideas, and you're like, okay, Shauna, but we don't have time for that right now. This is due tomorrow. I know you're inspired, but she would get all super inspired, and we would just nerd out together. She really knew her stuff. She really knew her Star Wars stuff. Did a lot of great fan service. She, was always on the forums, breaking her NDA. She kind of had her way around it. Like, if you were on the forums, if someone asked a question, she would thumbs up, and that's how you knew you were onto something. But if someone called us out in some way, like maybe there was a mistake, oh man, she'd bring it in. Hey guys, what happened here? We need to make sure that we fix this. And she really wanted to get it right. And I like that she took the time to really get feedback from the fans and make sure that you can't make everyone happy, but at the same time, there are certain things that she wanted to honor and to respect.
Right on.
Mm-hmm. You've talked a lot about like the collaboration and like feedback kind of like loops and everything. And I think there's like a lot of different avenues that I could go down, because we could talk all afternoon.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But
I'm long-winded.
No, I love it. I think where I'm interested in going though is like what conversations happen between costume and then like the other departments, hair and makeup, like props, production design, and if there was ever a costume that was like a particular challenge in that regard. Yeah.
We could, I mean, thankfully, when we moved to our new building, we were right next to the props building. So Josh Roth, who's the prop master, we got to know him very well, and his building was so cool. He had all these droids. That was my favorite thing. And he had arcade machines too. He'd invite us over. Like he really liked to treat his crew on, special occasions, and he'd always invite us over, and you could just chill out with Chopper. Like that was really cool. But it was really my first time that I was so scared. My very first time where we were doing a full looks test, and a full looks test in costumes. You don't do this on smaller budget projects, but this is Lucasfilm. I mean, the amount of, I guess to touch back to the sheer volume of people who have their hands in the creative process, it's so far beyond the costume department. It's just production and the set decorators, construction. It all has to come together, and that's where John and Dave and Doug, they're the people who are leading all of that. It all intersects with them, but on like a day-to-day basis, we were doing this full looks test, which meant that we were testing a category of background. We did this for every group of background, where we'd give them a little sampling, put them in front of the camera on the stage under the correct lighting, and they could make sure that we were going in the right direction. And they could give us feedback. Maybe we don't want goggles for this, or maybe this orange wasn't. You would have some representatives. I, as the key, would often go to these, so I would get feedback. And we did a lot of this for the night troopers on Ahsoka. That was a really big one. The bandits, that was probably one of the toughest. I'll circle back to that. But anyway, so you're going through all these layers of approval with them, and I had to go. We didn't have goggles. There's a thing with props. Sometimes it's not always in the costume department. Sometimes I would say probably with them, there's shared pieces. And I don't want to butcher it trying to explain the rule, but essentially sometimes they're in charge of goggles, sometimes we're in charge of goggles. Anyway, we didn't have them, so I had to go over, and I'd never met Josh before, and I had to go over and be like, Lisa, can I borrow some goggles? Is that allowed? Is that okay? And he was like, sure. Like, come on over. He shows me his wares, and I was like, is this okay? Like, is really? And he was like, yeah, just bring them back whenever. And that was so cool. That was my friend. And after that, of course, we broke the ice and everything. And he was always so cool or sometimes there were his belts, but he went, it's easier if you just keep them at the end of the day, so they don't have to bring them back, and it's one extra step. Like we did that for what are the blue guys? The New Republic officers. They were technically, I think, our belts, but they were outfitted with the prop pouches. To separate those two things at the end of the night would have been a nightmare. So they were theirs. We held on to them. So that's one way in which we collaborate with them, is we keep certain weapons. Obviously, that's going to go to them. But there's practical things that we would hold on to, or helmets. Sometimes helmets were ours. Sometimes helmets were theirs. Makeup, hair and makeup, obviously, because some creatures, if it's a pullover mask or prosthetic, that's going to be makeup. So then we're working with the makeup department. Legacy, they were sort of grandfathered into some of the characters that they took care of. So furries, things like that, gremlins, so we were working with Legacy as well. Their costumes as well, but they're in sort of a different camp. And obviously, they're amazing. The people from Legacy are absolutely incredible. I'm so glad that they finally got their day in the sun, because I think their work is just phenomenal. So I'm glad that they finally got recognition. Hair and makeup, right? This is my favorite day on establishing day on Star Wars, or any show that I work on. My favorite day is when we establish them, meaning that's the first time that we're seeing them. Because when we do the costume fittings, we're just fitting them for the costumes. We'll send a picture of the fitting to the hair and makeup department, but we don't know what they're going to cook up. So on that very first day where they show up, they get into costume. Now the alterations are done. Then we get to see Maria Sandoval, who does hair, and Ashley Childers, who does makeup. We get to see it all come together, and it is like Christmas Day. It's like you come out and now they're in hair and makeup. It's so beautiful to see it all, and their props come together. Those are the people that I feel like we collaborate with the most. If you're background or stunts, if you're principal, I'm going to add one, and that's sound. Sound, you have a relationship with sound. Then you have to be very cognizant of your fabric not being too loud. You don't want to choose a loud fabric for a dialogue heavy scene, because you don't want it to be too crunchy. Sound hates Velcro. They do not like Velcro, right? That makes that crunchy sound. We don't like that. So that's, but again, that's more of a principal issue than it is a background, because we don't mic background and stunts. We mic speaking roles. So I think those are the people that we work with the most.
Amazing.
And transportation. I mean, can we go and you know what?
Yes.
Transportation. As a set costumer, that is probably the first person I need to know right away. Who is my transportation? Because the guy who's driving my truck, I need to know that guy. Is he? Is he going to help us lug all these around? Is he cool? They do. Is he cool? They mostly are. They really are. They're great. But we're in cahoots. I have to ask them these are things you probably never think about. But on our trailer, if we have a washer, I actually have to tell them. I'll tell them, one of my daily conversations is, did you do any laundry today? And because they have to refill the water in our trailers. And so that's something that we're always talking about. Or are we double checking what time we're moving the truck? Because are we going to do laundry? Are we going to send it out? When can we load the racks? And they can't leave until we leave in background world. So yeah, if you're doing a lot of on-location things, transportation is an unsung hero for sure. They're responsible for making sure our costumes get there. Like, we've done our job to make sure that our costumes are wrapped. We wrap them. We put covers on them. We have to secure everything. And it happens every once in a while. They might go somewhere super bumpy, or the ratchet strap wasn't tight enough, and a rack will tip. And all the costumes kind of go over. It happens, unfortunately, but oh well, as long as no one got hurt, that's all we care about. They take it so much harder than we do. They're always just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. And we're like, it's fine. It's, everybody's alive. We're all okay. It's okay.
I'm curious, and Brad Leader, again, cut me off if I'm...
No, keep going.
I'm wondering how working behind the scenes has changed the way that you watch Star Wars, but maybe watch anything. Because, I know I can't go to an event or a conference now without being like, oh, they did this, and that meant this.
Yeah.
And
I had the same question. That's what I've been wondering this whole time, because you're so ingrained in everything. How do you watch anything especially
Yeah.
sci-fi, without being like, ooh.
Yeah. I actually, to be honest, I don't, it's not an issue for me. I've never had, I hear people talk about that, like yourself. I know that that's it, but actually there's a switch in my head. When I go, I don't watch trailers. I refuse, every once, unless someone has, I did see the Jumanji trailer though. That came out and that was awesome. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I haven't watched it yet.
It's so fun, and that is really like I'm actually super excited for Jumanji. I think it's going to be a fun movie. It was fun to work on. It'll be fun to see. It's silly. It's a good time. It's just, what a great cast. Danny DeVito, come on, like, it's just fantastic. And Danny DeVito in the flesh, man, what a guy, what an amazing guy, actor. I mean, it's not a guy. He's an amazing actor. But I try not to turn off the switch just mentally, and I just want to be taken. I want to take the journey that whatever story they've set out for me. I don't look at the costumes at all. That very first time, I'm not, I just want to be present. I want to be told the story. I just want to let it wash over me. I'm very dramatic and just experience it. And then after I've seen it the first time, it has to be something very jarring to take me out of it. Like, and that's where I go, oof, that sucks. And I'm not judging them. I feel for them because I know what it's like. I know what it's like. If anything, I'm just like totally the opposite. I'm just going, that sucks. You also don't truly know who's responsible for it, because sometimes a costume thing, maybe the director made you do it. Maybe the producer. There's so many people who have influence over the costumes by the time they're on stage that and just to give a quick example, I was doing a stills photo shoot with a new director. No, he's not new, but I'd never worked with this director before. And I can't name him, but anyway, there are uniforms and there's rules to uniforms, right? So we asked him, like, actually the key costume was looking at me like, should we tell him that we need to change this? And I was like, yeah, we should. That's our responsibility. So but it's scary, right? We've never worked with him before. So she approached him and just let him know, hey, just so you know, you can do whatever you want. You're the director, but traditionally these costumes should be this way. And he went, well, I kind of like them this way. And we were like, cool. All right. As long as we had that conversation, you can do whatever you want. But I knew that they were just wrong also. I was like, but that's also incorrect. And I also don't, because that's what's going to happen. I know we thought I was cool in the moment, but I got to try one more time. So we did a round of the stills. And then later I went, do you want to do just for safety? Do you want to do it the correct way or the traditional way? And he went, sure. Yeah, you have to sort of be that person, because I don't want it to come back. No one's going to know this. So, the movie's going to come out way down the line. I don't want it to come back on my designer. And, I've got to be her advocate. I know what's correct. I'm doing this for her. And I've got to make sure that it doesn't reflect badly on her. I have to be protected. That's kind of what you do as a set costumer. And it's uncomfortable sometimes to sort of be like, I know you're the director, but I used to be scared of it. Now I'm just like, listen, as long as I've tried and gave it an honest try, but I want to make sure that things are correct. So I don't judge because sometimes directors can be unapproachable. So maybe somebody asked and maybe they said no, maybe they don't care. Who knows? Or maybe the better take was the one with the costume flaw. That happens all the time. So I just have empathy for them. But yeah, anyway, I turn it off and then I watch it again. I have to always watch a movie twice. So you got to see it the second time. The second time, now I'm looking. Now I'm looking to see. Now I'm looking, and now I'm going to go. I'll turn the switch off, and then I'll go, all right, let's see. Did that stain that I couldn't get out, do I see that? No. Does the gaffer's tape on the stormtrooper, can you see it? Yeah, you can kind of see it. Oh, did anyone notice? No. So, yeah.
What to you is the most iconic costume in film or television of all time?
Ooh, iconic?
Yeah, for you.
I'm a 90s girl, and I did just, I know you haven't asked me this question, but I'll just tell you, I just wrapped on the sequel to Rumi and Michelle's high school reunion.
I'm so sorry.
And I gotta say, like, this is so I wanted to go back to Fallout, and Dana Pink is just so incredible to work on. I know this world, but also I really was trying to take a break. I really was. And then because I also have a lot of passion projects, and then the supervisor calls me. It's going to be a 6-week shoot. Do you want to do it? I know you have something else lined up, because I just started. I started this week. I'm on another project. I can't talk about this project right now. But anyway, I was trying to I knew it was going to be a big one, and I was like, I need to get some rest. But you guys, like, Remy Michelle was one of my favorite movies in high school, because talk about two odd gals who are a little bit just odd. And what a great message. That movie is so, so good. And I've never worked with Mona May. So I was like, all right, I gotta check the Mona May, but I have to go. I know. And it was so refreshing. Like, as much as I love Star Wars and sci-fi and fantasy and action, I've done a lot of it, and I'm very blessed. Feel very grateful, but it's like, it's time to do something different and fun and colorful. And it's like, it's only 6 weeks. If it sucks, then oh well, it was only 6 weeks. It did not suck. It was the unicorn of a show. It was so fun. God. It was so fun. Obviously, I can't talk about the story plot, but it's just, we know, because it was announced that both Rumi and Mira came back, and that was amazing. Just to get to watch them on set, to hear Lisa, because I also love Friends. I'm sorry. To hear her just do her little, like, that her Phoebe laugh. It's just like, this is really now. It's so colorful. It's everything I wanted and joyful. We just a really great crew. It was so fun. So Clueless, I would say. I asked her because, and also Mona gave me as her wrap gift. She just came out with a book, like just within this last year, her book of the costumes from Clueless. She was telling us all about it, about how she had to track down the Polaroids, because now we use our phones. We use an app called Sync on Set, and this is where we track continuity. They didn't have that back then. They were doing it on Polaroids. She had to track all the, which have been dispersed since then. She was telling us about how she had to track all these Polaroids down. And then she was also working Comic-Con this last weekend, and which I really wanted to go to, but I was like, I'm ending this job. I'm about to start new. There's no way. She went and worked Comic-Con and was back on set. So I missed this last week. I finished on the show, and then they kept going. But anyway, that was so fun to work with Mona and to see just her process, her team. And be a part of her team was really cool. It was really fun. So she gave me as her wrap present her book. She gave me her book.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. We got a couple questions in the chat. We know that sometimes they ask behind the scenes workers to play background character. If given the opportunity, would you do it?
Oh, in a heartbeat. I would do in a heartbeat. And I didn't, in the movie, there really wasn't, like, I didn't push for it. And maybe I could have. I think on the shows, there really wasn't. I would have had to spend a whole day away from my job to do that on Star Wars. So I really didn't. But I know we haven't this isn't a collector, but this is something I got to do. So in the movie, you know how in the very beginning, when he's talking to Sigourney Weaver, he has a deck of the cards. So a bunch of us crew members, Josh was like, we're going to do this still shoot. And I was like, cool. And he sent out this email, who wants to be an Imperial? A bunch of people, crew immediately were like, yes. And I said, absolutely. And so they're not, you don't see them in the movie, but they're on display. I think they're at Lucasfilm. Brandon I didn't even know they were out there. I didn't even know what happened to them. This was Josh's present to me, but the real one that they actually used is on display. It's cool. Wow. So Brandon from Talking B94, he posted it and then tagged Frederick, my partner. Tagged Frederick, and then I was like, wait, there's me too. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if that counts, but yeah, I definitely was like, cool. I think I was the first one in my head, I was the first one to respond.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So another question from Max Rebo Experience. Do you think there will be a live action Star Wars show after Ahsoka season 2?
I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
This is the thing about once you're retired, we call ourselves decommissioned droids. Once you've been retired from Lucasfilm, and we actually have a patch. A group of us have a patch that we are working on for us decommissioned droids. We're like, the plug is pulled. I have no intel, none whatsoever. I mean, nope, no idea. Couldn't tell you.
Right on.
I know nothing.
We've been talking an hour and a half, and it feels like 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. Let's start to wrap this up a little bit.
Sure.
Elora, did you have any other kind of pertinent questions you wanted to get in before we segment out of this?
No, I'm now stuck on Romeo and Michelle because that.
Can I ask you a question, Elora? What's your favorite quote from that movie? Do you have one?
Oh God, a favorite quote?
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. It's like when someone asks you your favorite book and suddenly you've never read a book in your life.
Right.
I will tell you this. I will say when I was a teenager, it was also one of my, top favorites. I had 4 things on my video iPod at the time. And it was Romeo and Michelle. It was the Attack of the Clones. It was Andy Tennant's Ever After and the injury episode of The Office. That was it.
Oh my! I support all of that. That is amazing. That's fantastic.
So I can't want my favorite quote
one
from
of my
memory,
favorite.
but...
Also, one of my favorite shows. Well, I did a little Moname marathon. I watched Clueless, and not that I needed to, but I was like, oh no, I have to watch Rumi and Michelle again. And the part where she's like, oh, I cut my foot before and my shoe is filling up with blood.
That's probably up there, yeah.
I don't know why that got me, but are you ever in maybe this one, are you ever in a conversation where you're like, where's the exit? How do I get out of this conversation? I'm going to start using that.
Also, the entire scene where she holds up the line at the checkout because she's run into her old friend. That entire scene is perfection.
It's so good. It's so good. That whole thing is very quotable. The businesswoman special. Do you have a businesswoman special for like businesswomen?
The cell phone being the size of her face. Yeah. All of it. Anyway, sorry, not Star Wars related. Everybody in the chat's like, "Oh my god."
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I love tangents. Absolutely love tangents. Henry,
Clueless. That was the answer. I realized I didn't answer it. Clueless.
No, you did. Yeah,
no,
I did. Oh, okay.
Right on. Right on. Brownie one. Any final questions to kind of wrap up the interview portion?
Honestly, I can't really think of one. I didn't think I was wondering.
One, Brownie?
Yeah, absolutely.
You said you were a film student?
I was. Yeah, I went to a film school here in Grand Rapids.
Oh, very cool. Are you working in film now, or what? Are you pursuing film in any way?
So I've kind of stepped away from it. I had kind of, so after I graduated, I did like a little internship, and it was just kind of at like a little public access like news station. So it was kind of doing something sort of. It wasn't really film or television necessarily. It was more kind of news based stuff. Still kind of technical, still kind of fun, but I kind of like fell out of it for a little while, and I've kind of been away. But I still very much appreciate it. A lot of my time there was fantastic. And I've loved hearing everything that you've had to say too. Just the attention to detail, I'm sure, is great. I really was deep into cinematography specifically, so I loved studying how things were shot in terms of how to make it really look good, and just that I love the technical side of it and just how much their detail work there is. Just in that alone, not to mention things like costume and wardrobe and all these little moving parts to it. It's really cool. So I've loved hearing what you've had to say.
Amazing.
Thank you. That's super interesting. And obviously, where would we be without the camera to capture it all? Yeah, it's important.
Right.
I guess one question real quick too is how much, because I guess one thing that I looked at with cinematography was just how much or maybe this is more like a director's thing too, but just like how much color palette kind of plays into things. How much does that weigh when it comes to designing costumes or sort of thinking of like what, things to pair color wise with, how much does that kind of play a role in terms of when
it's how the director and the DP want to play that's definitely their call, because sometimes you want the scene to be monochromatic. They want the scene to be monochromatic. You want the background to blend in, right? You don't want them pulling focus. Other times, one of my favorite examples of this is the movie Great Expectations. They use color very intentionally in that movie. I'm talking about this is, I don't know who saw this film but me, with Ethan Hawke and Gwyneth Paltrow. It's such a good adaptation of Charles Dickens. They use color very intentionally in this in a way. it's kind of, they do this thing where if you do it wrong, it can be cheesy, but it's not cheesy. And they do this scene where everyone is in green. Everybody, he's having this art show. Ethan Hawke is at this art show. Green is this, and again, if you saw it in a, I don't know, and if it's not done masterfully, it comes off as too on the nose. But the way that they did it, where everybody is in green, and it's the color use in that movie is really fantastic. I mean, I'd love to talk to them and be like, why did you choose this? Usually if, obviously we're talking to a production design, because we want to make sure our costumes don't immediately blend, but sometimes you do want that. So those are director and DP decisions, but it is a question that we have to remember to ask. And one time, usually, let's say it happened by accident, maybe someone didn't, it's very rare, but let's say it did happen. You know who usually has to change their stuff is costumes. Usually we have to change our costume and that's annoying, but it does happen. And I'll never forget this one time, and it was in Ahsoka. I think it was the seats were red. It's in the very first episode, and the console jockeys are in red jumpsuits, and they're vibrant red. Like Dave really, really wanted this vibrant red for the console jockeys. And then we talked to the production designer shows up one day, or she has the swatch of red vinyl, and she was like, I'm really hoping they're not too similar. She holds it up and they're like the same color. They're so close. No. And she's just going, oh no, we've built out the essentially the furniture, like the booth and all of this where they're seated is literally red. It was like the one time we didn't ask this question. Well, we take it up to Dave and John, DP, all of them, and they go, actually, we needed the costumes to be red because they're undercover. They're basically working for the Empire. We don't know that they're the bad guys, but they're the bad guys. There's this hidden symbolism, and they had to change. And I'm sorry, but I was a little bit, I had to be like, I'm really sorry, but I'm so glad this wasn't us for once. Costumes did not have to change our costumes. But that's a pain in the eye. I felt for them because they had to flip that. They had to flip it in like a couple of days. I don't know how that's magic. Interview one of those guys. I mean, wow, that's magic.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's very cool.
So a lot. It influences a lot.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, cool. Well, Gio, this has been amazing. And I know that we could continue on for another hour and a half easily, I'm sure. And so, but I don't want to hold everybody up for too long, but let's transition over into our, I can't even talk now. Collection Corner segment. So let me get the music going, and we will get our stuff ready.
I want it all. Keep your time to approximate. I want it all. And I want it great now. I want it all. Yeah. Brown Squadron.
Great song.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I went down a rabbit hole of an AI song app one time, and I created theme songs for the co-hosts. I did like for one co-host, DB. He's a cheer dad, so his daughter is in cheer, competitive cheer, and he has and she has been along for a long time. He's been doing it. So we did a parody song for him based on Tony Basil's "Hey Mickey," but it was "Hey DB,"
Nice.
and we've done some fun different parody songs. But then I was like, I need to ramp up Collection Corner, because we were using like sound bits, and we were using Queen's just a short snip of Queen's "I Want It All," but I kept getting flagged in Russia and Belarus. So I know, right?
It's very specific.
So that's a running joke on the show. Is like, we can't lose our fans in Russia and Belarus.
No.
So I did that. I did that one time, and it was a lot of fun. But
That's fun.
So all right, Brownie 1. You kind of know how this rolls, so we'll start with you.
I sure do. You picked a good one to start with, because I really don't have anything. I've got the one thing I can really show off was this is nothing new. This is from a while back, but Brown Leader and I went to a game down here in Grand Rapids. There was a hockey game, There was a Star Wars night. So we got, they handed out these free little just lightsabers that were just kind of fun. They can kind of
fun.
That's fun.
I can tell it's on the verge of breaking, but so they were pretty cheap, but they're still really fun. It's a great little glow stick. If it's pretty late and I don't want to turn on the light, I can just use this instead. So that's fun.
I love it.
Right. And seeing a whole stadium full of those,
it was fantastic. It was so much fun.
That's cool.
Is a lot of fun. And I will tell a funny story from that. So he and his brother, we all went down for Star Wars night, and all those lightsabers were part of a fundraiser. So the money went towards like children's youth hockey programs and stuff. So, we all bought one, and we weren't even into the first period. And my boys in their 20s, I went right back to when they were like 8 years old, because all of a sudden one of them's like, Dad, mine broke.
Can I have yours?
So we had a really good time.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. I don't think the game had started yet.
No, we weren't even in the first period yet. It was
That's classic.
Very classic. Very classic. It was a good night. We had a good time. So
that's fun.
Elora, we'll move over to you.
Yeah. Also not super new. I got it for Christmas and I'm obsessed. And I've spoken about this.
I'm with you, sister.
Long work day.
Yeah.
I've spoken about this on our podcast too, but it's Trisha Bigger's Dressing a Galaxy.
Oh, very cool.
It just feels fitting for today's episode.
Yes.
That's on my wish list, but it's like $800. Every time I go to try to look it up, I've read it. I've read it so many times. I've actually cut up a lot of those costumes and repurposed them. I have. I could go through. I mean, we're recondoing it. We're giving them new life and honoring, them. It's respectful. It's done very. But a lot of those costumes, my friend, they do not exist in that same form anymore. They have been repurposed, and a lot of them are in Garza, in the Garza scene.
Oh, wow.
A lot of them are there. A lot of them went back to Coruscant. There's bits and pieces of them repurposed over and over and over again. So they have had many lives, a lot of those costumes.
Incredible.
Wow.
I love that tidbit. Thank you. This was a very generous and very treasured gift from my dad. So
I love that. That's amazing. He bought it when it was first in print, not $800.
No, he didn't. I never got it when it was first in print. This is an antique.
Oh God, even better. Okay, Dad. Yeah. All right. That's well done.
Nice.
Yeah. Love it.
Gio, we'll kind of move over to you.
Okay, this was one of the principal set costumers on season 2 of The Mandalorian. I didn't tell you this before, but I was Tem's set costumer on location for at the end of season 2. So I got to go out we were in Simi Valley, and I got to watch him. And so I know Tem, and he's so great. He's such a good, but this was his gift to me. So very cool. So I like it because it actually has my name on it. It says to Gio. And I'm like, yes, not a random person. It's like I love that it's to me, but it was my set partner. Yeah, Omar Bremen. He was Tem's set costumer most of the time. Like he did Book of Boba Fett, and he was his primary set costumer. But anyway, he went to Tem and was like, I want to get this for Gio, and he got that signed for me. And this is probably one of my most treasured things.
Very cool.
I love it. Yeah,
that's very
incredible.
Cool.
Oh my God, that's special.
So I've got a couple things, and then we do have some submissions. So viewers will send in their pictures of things that they've collected, and that we'll show those off. But I wanted to. So we have a friend of the show, Carbonites. Vincent runs Carbonites. He's an entrepreneur. Has his own business where he creates these little. Let's see. I know
they are very cool.
They are very cool. And, they are. The whole theme is he does like. They're his own pieces of art, and they're like little Star Wars characters, as if they were frozen in carbonite. And so he's a big friend of the show. We're big collectors of his stuff. He's very cool because his whole motif, from the packaging and everything, is very cool, and it's with the collector's mindset, which is what appealed to us. And there's even a pun on the inside where everyone comes mint in box, which means there's actually a mint in the box, but obviously from a collector's standpoint, right? So when we went to ICCC in Nashville back in June, one of the actors that was going to be there was Dr. Pershing himself, Omid. And so I think there's a Lego mini of Dr. Pershing, but really there's no figures, right?
I know.
So in one of Vincent's sets from Mandalorian, there is a little Dr. Pershing.
Oh my god!
And so, and I should have uploaded this picture, but we met with Omid and gave him that set with the little figure, and he was very touched, and then he was really super nice, and he recorded a video for Vincent thanking him, which was very cool. It was our way of giving back. Vincent's
that's amazing.
Vincent's been a really cool friend of the show, and so as a thank you, and he didn't, and I told him he didn't have to do this. He sent me some of his new sets, which are based on Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So from the opening scene, and then from breaching the hatch.
And
now
I'm getting flashbacks.
And then it was really sweet of him, but that he replaced the set that I gifted Omid. He didn't have to do that. It was really nice. But and then for the other guys in the group, DB and Scruffy, he also sent some Spaceballs, the koozie.
Nice.
Because we're big Spaceball fans. But the really coolest thing about it was the note that he gave me. And and it reads, Dear Brown Leader, when flying a Star Wars kite with my mom on June 19th, my phone buzzed with a DM that completely rocked my world. My mom captured this candid photo at the exact moment I saw your DM of the Omid video, thus preserving a genuine, unfiltered reaction that I'll never be able to recreate. Words cannot express what I felt in that moment. Hopefully this picture can. And so that has become one of my favorite collectibles, because it was just,
that's great.
We talk about it a lot. You talk about healing as one of the big factors in Star Wars, and for me it's community, and it's this what we're doing right here. We're talking, we're having fun, we're nerding out, and so to be able to have an impact on somebody like that and share that gift is means a lot to me.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
And then one of the other things that I wanted to, as I was saying, one of our viewers, listeners, he's actually a podcast listener to the show. I am Anakin's father is the account, but he picked up some books. Some Attack of the Clones. And then he also picked up this very cool Micro Machines X-Ray Fleet, which I have not seen those. Those are very cool.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, those are neat.
So it's Boba Fett Slave One and a Y-wing, but they're like where you can see through the outer shell, so you see like all the inner.
That's neat.
Which is very cool.
So cool.
Which is very cool.
Need those.
And then the last thing I wanted to show off for Collection Corner was a friend of the show, Brown 16, Dr. Chris Kempshaw, has got a new book coming out, and I pre-ordered it. And so he's been on the show a few times. He was on the show when he dropped his last book, which was Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire, which, funny enough, so cool tie-in. Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire is where in canon it was first, those trading cards that you're on, Gio, that concept was first mentioned in that book. And so that was one of his things of canon that he got to create for the Star Wars universe. And then they used it in Mandalorian and Grogu. And so I couldn't be more excited for Chris. Just how cool is that?
Chris is the goat.
Right.
That's so cool.
You've had him on your show, right, Elora?
Oh, we love Chris. Yeah.
Chris is amazing. So he's got a new book coming out, and it's Star Pilots. It's coming out in October. And what's really cool about this book is that it is written from the perspective of Wedge Antilles. And that news just came out recently, and
that is so cool.
One of my favorite pilots in Star Wars is Wedge, and so to have a book written from his perspective is very, very very cool to me. I actually got
That'll
to talk to Dennis himself a couple of years ago, and that was a very fun time.
That's awesome. Very
so yeah,
cool. So when does it come out exactly?
In early October. So I think
man.
I know, right?
You gotta wait all that time.
Yeah, but you know, it'll be worth the wait. It's good. It's good.
Gonna come quick. It's already August, y'all.
It'll be over before we know it.
I mean, all the Halloween decorations are up in the store.
I know.
Are they? Oh no.
Yeah, the
No.
home
Don't tell me that.
the home supply stores have like the huge inflatables already for
Oh my gosh.
3-story tall inflatables for Halloween.
That reminds me, my son has a drop dead date of I gave him 6 weeks out. He has to, and then when there's no going back, because we custom make his costumes. So yeah, so this year he wants to be, I have to ask him, thanks for reminding me. He wants to be Dead Mouse, the DJ.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's what he wants to be. So I'm like, okay.
Very cool.
I'll learn how to make a vat.
Very, very cool.
I'll follow up with pictures, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And talking about costumes, so Brownie One here was a big Darth Vader fan growing up, and how old were you when we did that costume?
I must have been like 5 or 6, maybe.
5 or 6. So
the cutest little Darth Vader there ever was.
It was too, because we had back then. So this would be the early 2000s, and so it was that Darth Vader helmet that you could get that had the little chest panel with it, and it would make the noises and everything, but it was more adult size, right? And so you had this little 6-year-old, and then we found this cape. We found this cape that literally came within a half an inch of the ground. And where we live in northern Michigan, you dress warm. You dress in layers for Halloween, because odds are it's going to be 30-something, 40-something degrees. So you always bundle up. No. And Darth Vader was perfect. So we basically everything black that he had. So you had a little 6-year-old with an adult-sized Darth Vader helmet.
Oh my god!
I'm surprised I didn't tip over.
And walking, he was kind of a Funko Pop before Funko Pops,
proportion wise.
and he was the hit. He was the absolute hit of the Halloween circuit that year.
You're going to have to post a follow-up picture. No one's going to understand why you're posting this, but I'm going to have this for, we need a pics.
I know. I'm going to have to find one, because
there's got to be some. Yeah.
We've got to
clip this out for social and superimpose it on top. Yeah.
Right. I expect a follow-up.
There were like some kids that like let me cut in line, because they were just like, Darth Vader's like the best, you know. And so
yeah.
After you, my lord.
Yes.
Right. So, all right. So that's Collection Corner. We'll play the outro for that.
And I want it mint now.
All right, so that was Collection Corner, and I bet he looked like Dark Helmet. Yes,
100%.
Kind of, sorta. So, all right. Well, this is the time that we kind of go around, and we'll start with Elora on this. But Elora, kind of tell everybody where they can find you and find what does Star Wars mean to you.
We're on all the socials at Star Wars Mean to You, exactly as I have it spelled out here. And if you're just listening, that's Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U. And Dave and I love to deep dive on everyone's Star Wars journey and really get to the root of what Star Wars means to them. And we've learned that when you're talking about Star Wars, you're really talking about life. And so we've been enjoying that. Yeah.
I will say I listened to I just listened to the most recent episode yesterday with Luke, and it was very cool as a podcaster listening to a podcast talk to another podcaster. And it was, there was some very inside baseball stuff, and that really got me, because I was like, yeah, what is it like, with somebody else does that, because we all kind of go through the same things, and it was very fun. It was a very fun tangent to go down during the interview. Very niche. And so I wanted to make sure to mention that, because I had a lot of fun listening to that.
That's kind. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely check out their podcast, What Do Stars Mean to You? And I retweet and repost their stuff all the time. So if you follow
you guys
us,
are very kind.
Just watch one of the posts and give them a follow, give them a listen. And what season are you guys in now? Is it 4?
It's 4. It's my 3rd though. So
okay.
I joined Dave in season 2. Yeah.
Right on. All right, Brownie 1. Where can people find you?
So I like to ride Brown Leader's coattails. So if you guys just want to reach out to him, you can find me that way. I'm not really making Star Wars content per se, but I'm always happy to hop on here. So
I will. He did make our intro video, so
I did a lot of fun doing that.
He has a permanent contribution to the show, and there's a 3-minute outro that I used to add to the to the audio version of the show that I don't add anymore. But it was a great. He and a buddy did this whole alien or Jabba the Hutt.
I did like a Jabba voice. Yeah.
Jabba.
Really well.
It was a cool outro. But, all right, and Gio, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us. We could just keep talking. In fact, I think we're gonna have to have you back on because this is just we've had a lot of fun. And where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram mainly, and my handle is something about costumes. And that's kind of what it is. It's very new. I have a private one that's mostly me like complaining about whatever snake oil. I love snake oil. I love a snake oil, guys. If you are promising more energy, I want it. I'm gonna get that trial. I'm gonna forget to cancel it, and then I'm gonna keep having it. So I like to kind of post. That's fun. If I know you long, I only add people that I know in person on that one. That one is something about art. So, but I've met all of you now, so you can follow me there. But on my other one, I do really try to keep it. It's relatively new. I only just started it this last year, and I had a series planned. Elora, you'll have to tell me. Nilda wants me to do this. I did it. I did a vlog of every single day that I worked on Rumi and Michelle. I thought this was going to be a great idea. She still thinks it is. And I was like, I don't know, Nilda. I think I need to send you because a lot of it, I do it at the end of the day and I'm tapped out and I'm yawning. I'm rambling. I'm sundowning, trying to vlog. And I realized none of this makes sense. I'm using all this costume jargon. So I'm still waffling. My videos are anywhere from 2 minutes to almost 30 minutes. That is, I think if I do post it, it'll be on YouTube. And I think I will. I do it. You don't know that I'm doing Rumi and Michelle, and I'm not talking about the story at all. I'm really talking about like my daily, what's going on, the things I'm juggling. And it is a video diary, and sometimes I get a little deep. So I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do that or not. But I do post on my stories pretty frequently. I love to post a good meme. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think you'll find an audience for that, especially one of the questions I had that we didn't go down was kind of like advice you would give your younger self or someone starting. And I think that a series like that, but I think a series like that would really connect with that kind of audience too.
Yeah. Well, you and I should connect too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Right on. Okay, and so let's transition into the last segment of the show, the cringiest segment that we do. Patent pending. Dad joke of the week. Time to annoy Scruffy and DB. Dad joke of the week. All right, Star Wars dad joke of the week, courtesy of Kelly Knox's Star Wars Dad Jokes Volume 2 is also available now. That's why we're trying to get through this one so we can get to Volume 2.
I can follow along in this game.
Oh, you can. Star Wars dad joke of the week. What do you call a gloomy droid?
Oh.
A woebot.
Too hard about it.
That was Dad joke of the week. Now don't you feel absolutely complete?
Yes.
Gio, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us tonight.
This pleasure's all mine. This is so fun.
I hope you had some fun with us because we definitely had some fun with you. And
Absolutely.
as I stated, I'm serious. You're welcome back anytime.
You tell me.
Right. So one of the things that we do, on the show is that all guests become honorary members of Brown Squadron, and with that, you get a flight designation and a call sign. So you are going into the books as Brown 97, call sign Snips, which I thought that was
yes, I love that.
I thought that was kind of poetic for just everything full circle, right?
It was perfect.
I'm so honored.
It was. So welcome to the crew. It's been fun having you. And
thank you.
Like I said, anytime you want to come back, when you launch your new series based on that movie, we'll talk about it.
We'll see. I don't know. It's long and garbly. I don't know.
I might have to bite myself back for that.
Yeah.
Right on. So, okay. Well, gang, thanks for watching tonight. We've had a great time. We've had a wonderful show. We are Brown Squadron. You can follow us on all the socials. And I'm supposed to be playing this when I say that. So find us on X, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. You can email us at brownsquadron@gmail.com. You can find all of our links at beacons.ai/Brown Squadron. And so there's something that we do at the end of the show typically. So I'll do the final sign off. And when I do that, I'll take a pause, and then everybody's invited to, we don't sign off with May the Force be with you. We sign off with That's No Moon. So something different. We're goofy here. So thanks everybody for watching. Give us a follow on all the socials, give us a follow, click the bell, do the subscribe thing, whatever, they say that you're supposed to do. It helps the algorithm. So, right. So, but yeah, Elora, thank you for joining us. Hope you had a good time. Brownie one. Thank you. Gio, thank you.
Brownie.
Oh yeah.
We've had an excellent time. So this is Brown Leader signing off for the crew, and you have been listening and watching Hyperspace Heroes. That's no moon.
No moon.
Oh, yes, the joyous